Yalla, yalla, back in the AM here at youtube.com/Ben Hameen solo channel, infidels for your Ultra Kayfabe Declassified Friday Locker Room Thursday taping here, hackerhameen.podbean.com, because it was an upset in 2 minutes flat. We were back on the freeway, foot to the mat. I can't understand it, Stevie. How about that? We all had positions. We each had a role. I know we rehearsed it. We had full control. And we do have full control in the Monday, Friday, Wednesday locker room infidels, because we are the ones that say what goes on out in the crowd, not the crowd telling us what goes on in the ring here on your Friday veteran locker room. Yalla. Yeah, we are back early. Not too bright-eyed as the Brosters.com. Vince Russo Bro official coffee starts coursing through my veins. Hopefully I'll get a little bit pumped up and keep the anger levels down. But it's a new day, a new chapter, if you will. New day. Even Biden was tweeting about New Day last night, but nobody told him that Big E went slow and Kofi broke his jaw. So it's just him and Woods, and it's my man, my New Day partner right here with me now, Blue World Order specialist. We're taking over, Stevie.
Once I seen that, I decided it was time to change the group chat message photo and name. And one of the most famous, if you want to know what the next 4 years are going to be like, look up Biden sniffing little girls.
That's it, man.
Or maybe you shouldn't, because we don't know exactly what Twitter is going to do in social media. And it's crazy. It's always been crazy. I just think the information age has brought out hyper awareness, because we hit a point yesterday, and we kind of talked about it. I know we jumped around and we wanted a different perspective, but that day, I think a lot of people who claim to be conspiracy theorists and really believing in the conspiracies will come home to roost saw that I believe, in a way, the elite, the evil nature of people, and the big club that George Carlin said we're not a part of, got back together and said, "2 me, bro." Tom Hanks, on the day, who was a Greek citizen who went completely zero dark 30 for how many months, comes back to host a 90-minute celebration on day one for America. This just doesn't, dude, their creative is so bad, even worse than WWE, or maybe just that good.
Just huge balls of like thinking that people aren't going to see what's what. I mean, now this Greek citizen loves America so much on day one, once again, that he was there to be marched right out to be the our town narrator, because remember, he was a half retard in Forrest Gump, and he saved Lieutenant Dan, and then he was a kid that turned into a man that turned a kid that turned into a man, so we could tell that pedo story and big, and our inner child is all the same, even if we're grown. So, you know, all this shit, man, everything from the Saving Private Ryan and whatnot, based off of stooge reports from Isaac Cappy and others, and you see Tom Hanks' stupid ass fucking son with all Illuminati shit, trying to be cute and everything else about it, dude. So they can fuck off royally, and I hope they're exposed big time.
I just wonder, like, what is going to be. I said it last night, and I'm just curious to see what the game plan is. What's that? Maybe the Q heads will gain true awakening. I don't know, because now there's two different ways to look at this. Now, like I believe it was Daniel Price in the chat room said that the too much inundation of information, you can get desensitized after a while. I believe we're really at that point, because just like when you watch wrestling, it has to have a payoff. There has to be a payoff to some degree. I don't believe we're getting that, or this could make people, like, you know, I said on the morning warm-up last week, you know, you need to worry about what happens in your house versus the White House. It's the only thing we can truly control. The people you care about, the people you love, the businesses that you have that you can control. You can't just sit there and say, hey, I'm going to be taxed, so why should I work? Why should I do that? Now you're kind of creating that vicious cycle of the welfare state that they want you to fall into. Now, I do believe that I will take the Ronald Reagan approach. with my business model, and I think you would too. Why should I work a third movie in the course of a calendar year when the government's going to get 100% of that?
Mhm.
My business model is going to be, now how can I work much smarter instead of working harder just to give the government money that they're not going to use to help the people that really need it?
Well, those transgenders in fucking Pakistan do need that money, so you better get back to work, kid. Daniel Price says he was good as Mr. Rogers, though. Okay, but disagreed on that too, because even as a little kid, I would watch Mr. Rogers and feel like something wasn't right. Like a guy who plays with puppets and talks to small children, something is fucked up there. Like that, even when I was 6, 8 years old watching Sesame Street, he would come on and I'd get like a weird feeling. So, not to say that Mr. Rogers' career was this or that or what he wanted to do, but again, there's weird pedo undertones in almost everything Mr. Rogers, as far as I'm concerned, inviting children into your house and fucking trying to condition them and teach them in a very soft and like welcoming voice. Like all that shit is fucking pedo weird to me. It's not how real people act. It's not what should be. So it doesn't surprise me that he did a wonderful job at that, to be honest with you.
It's a pretty hot take on Mr. Rogers, but I do see what you're I do see what you're saying, and it's very interesting in an Operation Mockingbird type scenario that Mr. Rogers pleaded when there's a famous 6-minute plea to Congress to fund PBS or fund public broadcasting, and that supposedly turned him. But that was in the age of
about the
after 1977 or right around 77 when he got the money. So maybe the CIA or Operation Mockingbird kind of merged with his show to say, okay, well, we can talk about these things and give it and indoctrinate these children to believe certain things.
I agree with that completely. Also, he's dealing with a king and queen, and feudalism is part of the doctrine he's spreading as well. So
the mailman delivered the mail. That doesn't happen much in real life. That's not realistic.
So I was never in on that shit, and it makes it just as more weird when they try and push him as the big philanthropist that he was or whatever. So none of that impresses me. And the script just in 24 hours, the blind spot, cluelessness, biggest balls of these people to march Hanks back out when there's so much controversy surrounding it. Even the Nancy Browns don't know. That shows like we had it in the wings. Let's get normalized again. Let's get back to where we were. Let's get them back on top, as far as like just pathetic.
Well, here's my question now. What happens when all the cable ratings tank because Trump is no longer the big bad heel? Or are they just going to continue to do that, even though he's not? Dude, if he doesn't come back to like public life, he will destroy mainstream media from not being in the news. That could be the plan to never miss a good chance to shut the fuck up or whatever, Rip Rogers, Bobby Eaton, or anybody else said. His silence could destroy the mainstream media because they will not have no ratings, unless now what they're going to do is, well, we have 75 million shows because now we can track down 75 million Trump voters and you have terrorist of the day segments or whatever. Maybe they'll do that.
Why not, man? I could use the highlight. My new Topps card from Immortal Championship Wrestling. Oh, shit. It was a good night last night, though, with a broad who knows a thing about it, too, or about a thing or two, and that dame knows what she's talking about, and she sure did. As we had Jenna Elise Feldy on last night, guest GGP booked for us, a mystic, a health professional, and a performance artist, and she had a really great insights back and forth. And it's not a lot of time that the Hacker Hameen Media Group gets to talk to a pretty girl, so it took them a while to get their shit in line. But once they started hitting on jokes, it was a good time. In the chat room, we were about 78 strong, 28 strong this morning for the early Friday locker room taping, Stevie. So we appreciate everybody. I see Cujo, Double A Andres in here, Mike Roche, Daniel Price, Frank's Pickle Barrel Ass. The homie Amp Williams is in the house. Society Reviews, Canadian Spaceman. All right. I haven't seen that one, I don't think, before. Appreciate you. I don't know, does Canada even have a space program? But and my man Brendan Doherty in the chat this morning. So y'all, it's I don't know, a weird week of wrestling, not a lot going on. pretty bad scripts. We're building to the Royal Rumble, and nobody's done anything too stupid yet. Mark with a $2 super sticker, and Big J with a $5 sticker. Appreciate you, bro. Did you guys watch the Joe Rogan Undertaker podcast? Taker says today's production is SAWFT soft. Well, I got that story up there, and we'll get to it as we break ourselves down with the headlines. But you know, yesterday was as boring as I thought it was going to be. No military coup d'etat. I just kept thinking to myself, you know, what would it look like if the National Guard did turn and fucking 1,000 soldiers just eliminated the whole problem yesterday? Just mow them all down and we start fresh again, clean.
Well, I want people to pay attention to all the things that they celebrated that we did catch from time to time. I didn't watch the whole thing. They were talking about the crowd, which was a selective invite. And every time they had a shot of the crowd, it was literally the thousands of National Guard down the steps through the you know, I get whatever that reflection pool is going into Washington. There were made basically all of the crowd was military. And also, they were celebrating, like, look at Joe Biden run up and fist bump Al Roker. My God, that just tells you a whole lot about the energy this guy has. He's a retail politician. It really gets out there with the people. I go, you're comparing Al Roker to a regular, everyday, middle-class American person, Al Roker. And then the fact that this might have been an advertisement for a bunch of before pictures for Stevie Richards Fitness, because everybody up there looked like they were 1 foot in the grave. They looked sick. Bernie looked like he was getting COVID as the inauguration happened.
He was knitting some nice mittens up there for his grandson.
He actually looked like he was pouting about it. Like the meme is great, and Bernie's team jumped on it, but what was that? This guy was, the people wanted him to be president. He looked like he couldn't even sit through an inauguration.
Clinton falls asleep. Like this is what it is. It's pudding time at Green Grove, and that's who's fucking now back in power. And for 20, 30 years, they pretended they were witches in California and did lesbian fucking in the middle of the night Saturnalia rituals. And we claim that we're socialists and we want all this equality for man, but we buy $1.4 million mansions in Vermont. So everything that we do as we claim to be great leaders to lead for the future, their actions go against that completely, and it's all just for show. Biden as well, 50 years in office with massive mansions and all this shit, and the money doesn't add up. Or Hillary Clinton or Chelsea Clinton needs a $3.5 million wedding. Where'd that money come from? You know? So it's just more slaps in the face of fucking the real common man by whatever this feudal class is. And to be honest with you, those gallows that they built outside and everyone was shocked at, they should have been used.
My only hope is what you just said, that it's put in time for the next 4 years and they just put the country on neutral instead of pushing an agenda, that it is business as usual. Right. Because what people are looking at now is they control each and every bit of government. They control everything. They can literally pass any law they want. No executive order is ever going to be challenged because they have the majority. And if nothing gets done, are they just going to, my guess is nothing will get done except raising gas prices and all these other prices and taxes. But they're going to blame that they needed 4 years to undo what Trump did to the country. Because look at the theme. Trying to bring order out of chaos, which basically that's exactly what they said. Order out of chaos is a 1984 like thing. Talking about controlling the media. Now they're talking about regulating what we do. Already talking about that. Licenses for podcasts are probably going to become a reality. All these different things to put up obstacles, if not completely shut down everything that's going on. And I believe too that they talk to Alex Jones again and say, you're allowed to be opposition, because the more you talk, the crazier you look, and the more we look like we're actually the party of common sense. How is Alex allowed to exist without this compromise that he made many, many months ago or a year ago? the apology tour, all these other things. And
they still haven't. He killed his cred with us because we've had the same guest on and we couldn't even get him to respond to us because I'm sure he's thrown his hands up and is done with this world. With Wolfgang Hellbig, we've done 2 shows. The Marty Leeds documentary, Dear Wolfgang, still got it on my hard drive. You can't even upload it to YouTube. It instantly gets pulled. And none of that is salacious. It's all just categorical footage logistics and it breaks it down. It's not an emotional piece and it can't be put up there. And then they go after Alex for everything along those lines, but still nobody's answered why SWAT team is eating pizza down the hall from 30 supposed dead children, why those bodies were taken out at 2 and 3 in the morning, why 46 porta potties were the first things that were fucking ordered for the scene, why Sandy Hook laughing dad is an actual thing, why the overhead footage of the families walking into the firehouse and then they walk out the back and loop right around in a loop, why there's signs for sign in X amount away. The first guy on the scene is harboring people and has all the right answers for it, why all the houses were paid off on Christmas Eve 2 years later, where are all the children from the Super Bowl, how everybody who got $180,000 payoff no longer lives in the town anymore. Like, there's none of that is emotional. None of that is how I feel. Did I mention Adam Lanza at all there in the shooter of how they tore down the house and how the blood forensics looks like spilled wine on the bed and all this? Like, no, I don't need to go into the gun grab type issue and make it like that. Just run down the laundry list of 15 things that meet a capstone practicum from FEMA identically and why the church wouldn't participate in that as well. I remember that the one reverend who I'm the guy who's got to back the church now and that he wouldn't participate in it because a capstone practicum takes all governments.
Well, don't forget they got the wrong Lanza. They did a Vince from Master Shoot Theater.
Right.
Wow. Get a Lanza. I don't care which Lanza it is.
It wasn't good brother. It was bad brother. Give me blackjack Lanza down here. God damn it. So all of that, that I just recounted, all fell on Alex Jones's head for him to go away, have to pay a little $100,000 fine of, he's made that 10 times over selling fucking snake oil. And now he's back as a full controlled CIA opposition just because he smokes weed on Rogan. You're supposed to be like, he's dispelled and we got him. Isn't that what it is? We got him and showed him and now he's back. But to those of us who are really in the fucking trenches on the truth fight, who run this shit down every single day, and it's over there still stacked up high because you watch the shit fly. No, that was all a lie. Sandy Hook was real. Well, please dispel these 15 fucking things. But we don't even talk about that. You're going to get unpersoned. You're not allowed to do that. So, it's madness.
Speaking of unpersoned, I'm sure this show is going to have 3-step verification now.
Yeah, I'm sure. I wouldn't doubt it, man. As more and more digital opportunities get shut down, whether, we're trying to get back on Twitch now that the Queer Deer has got their president in office, we'll see if we can make a little reciprocity. But looking at D-Live, looking at Rockfin, a couple different things, Rumble, BitChute, but none of them are stepping up as the next platform. But we got to stay fluid, lucid, and move. So
I really do want to start upping the production maybe in 2021. I have something called a YOLO Live where I can produce and we can stream to multiple places, and also even getting some switchers and stuff like that to try to add a little bit of production to it. By the way, our lower thirds, we didn't talk about this before we did. I cannot help anyone gain 19 pounds of muscle in 3 weeks. And those things that can, we don't sell them on the site. Maybe Extendivite can to help with that.
Did you hear
Extendivite?
Did you hear that on commentary last night?
No.
It was Cody versus Peter Avalon, and Cody comes to the ring, and Excalibur goes, Cody Rhodes gained 19 pounds of muscle. And then JR goes, yeah, in 3 weeks. Since the beginning of the year. I fucking just about fell out of my chair, bro. And Cody does look good, but what do you fucking expect? And, the chat you sent me yesterday privately, JR confirms it on there. In 3 weeks, you want to put on 19 pounds of muscle? Ask me how.
Gained the bust too.
What's that?
We'll talk about that later.
Gained a couple tons as well. Oh man, where the frig is that one? I was gonna put it up there yesterday. I was at the store and just getting shopping done, and this I saw. So maybe B12 is BOGO. So I mean, you can double up your B12s 500 milligrams, and that might do it for you. Also want to say shout out to
don't be a dork.
Yeah, don't be a dork. Big shout out to Larry H on Twitter, making the official Hamini on the 3D printer at home. Come on, catch you fucker. Whatever. You guys can see it. The $5 face slap. He sent me the STL, so I'll be printing a couple too. 33-hour print though. 33 hours. You want to get into 3D printing? That's what it takes. There's 33 hours, you guys, and probably 2 hours of design. What's that? That's
very amazing. I'm very happy to see that. That is stepping up your game. There it is right there. If you could see
man. There you go. A little catch on your camera. Great stuff, man. Appreciate it. And I'll probably be printing some myself. Can only print Thursday to Sunday because we got so many shows going on here. Thursday night I can start prints, but too loud in the background now with all the recording. So
maybe Cody finally realized everything you can learn you can learn in the gym. Just like Triple H said.
Finally figured it out. Or on the big show with Snoop Dogg or wherever else you got to go to do it, man. But that made me fucking laugh hard last night. He's put on 19 pounds of muscle. Yeah, in 3 weeks. JR don't give a fuck, man. You don't give a fuck. I love it. And if he don't give a fuck, then we don't give a fuck right here. It's your headlines, infidels. Stevie, anything else before we have to tear this shit in or down or sideways or whatever?
Actually, one leg, because my lower third, like I said, I can't help anybody lose 19 pounds of muscle. Or you can lose it in 3 weeks too if you stop doing something. No, I've really wanted to still extend to the tech channel because I've been helping John Paz out with some DaVinci Resolve stuff and little things. I'm like, I just have this thing about creating that other channel or doing the other content that I talked about, but just got to be careful. Just like we talked about, we have so much going on that people don't even know about that we might have to take over certain things that I don't want to overextend what I'm doing and half-ass a bunch of different things. So I really want to do the tech channel. I want to convert some affiliate models within that, but it's tough. I really don't want to thin out what I'm doing with the fitness part of that either. It's tough.
I actually took the whiteboard yesterday and split it in half. So now not only do we have 5 columns, we have 10 columns of individual projects going on. And actually, I'm glad I put it over there because right now, here's your pre-roll. If you're a podcaster like Stevie and I are,
ding dong.
We are always looking for affiliates. We're looking for sponsorships. We're looking for partnerships to do good business across the board because we keep our platform at Hacker Hameen and Stevie Richards free. And we are very thankful for websites like podcorn.com. It's a very cool thing that if you have your own RSS feed and website, you can sign up for. And every week I get emails with 10 to 12 new sponsorships. There's usually about 40 to 70 up there of companies, all types, if it's more of makeup products and you're, wives or what have you, like Stevie's wife has a great podcast as well. The Career Junkie podcast might appeal more to women. I don't think in our 90-10 demographic, they might like some facial cleansers, who knows, but there's other ones that we've hooked up with like Get Acre Gold, and Podcorn themselves has bought some time here for us to plug it. So if you're a podcaster, go to podcorn.com. There's no easier way to get in front of sponsors who want to spend money. And I've also seen a lot of podcasters who are trying to do partnerships, whether it's appearances or small payments for pre and mid roll. But you guys can also do some quid pro quo and boost each other's show, because building a community and a foundation is the hardest thing to do. So I'm glad to see that new effort by Podcorn to link podcasters up so everyone can get their numbers up and create awareness across the board. So once again, you guys, they're sponsoring us today. Bought a pre-roll and a mid-roll ad from Hameen Media Group. So we appreciate podcorn.com. Go over there and sign up if you are a podcaster. How was that, Stevie? All right, good.
Great. I like it.
That was just off the head. It says, hey, did the 2CW show happen? I told you, infidels, there would be no 2CW show. No one wants to listen to hackers. Shocker, y'all. Once again, when I know lockdowns are coming and you're going to be on house arrest. And, of course, 2CW's fan base is very similar to that of AEW. So they're all grade A pussies who would never show up for an underground show anyway. So I laughed all the way to the bank, and I had a whole promo ready to go. And then Brody died and killed my heat that way. So thanks, Brody. But y'all, they claim to reschedule it for June. June. Good luck, infidels. Lockdown big time coming back around. There isn't going to be any show in June either. That's all just little bullshit hope spots for SJWs who put us in this position. And now that their bread and circuses are gone, they want to play by the rules, but they want what they love back the most. Well, you don't get it back. You killed it by being complacent. So enjoy it. But you can check out some 2CW watch-alongs, patreon.com/Hameen Media Group. That's about the only place you're getting 2CW. Oh, shit, that made me laugh. I've got 3 of them. I have 2 3D printers. I have a TiVo Tornado and a Creality CR10S, which I hope to get back online tonight. Just got to update some firmware. I think all the mechanics are running well, but the TiVo Tornado's dialed in right now. I feel pretty good about it. What I print the other night, Adam Snoke's ring from Star Wars for GGP. Just looks like Snoke loves makeup. I think he just looks like lipstick on a ring, so it doesn't impress me. Anything else, Stevie, to prolong the headlines? Are you ready to go, man?
I'm not ready, but let's do it anyway.
It's your Friday veteran locker room. Stevie Cool, Hacker Hameen, and Chad Gable says that Jason Jordan is training for an in-ring return. Stevie, just what we all been looking for here. 6 years ago, Chad Gable and Jason Jordan took storm in NXT on the main roster as American Alpha. Doesn't that seem so long ago? During their time together, they picked up the NXT SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Unfortunately, just before Jordan's career-ending injury, Gable found himself alone as a singles competitor with hopes that he and Jordan could one day reunite. But that idea seemed to fade. This week on WWE's Bump, Gable is still hopeful he and Jordan will share the ring in the future again, as the panel told the panel during the interview, never say never, especially now that Jordan is working to make an in-ring return. He says, we have a body of work from NXT that I'm so proud of to this day. Jason was such a big part of my journey to be successful in WWE, to say if I would ever have gotten into NXT or the main roster if it wasn't for Jason. I just feel so fortunate that we meshed together. He's one of the guys like Otis who had similar mentality that resonates on certain levels. The cohesiveness was always there. It goes on and on when he puts himself over. I'm not reading all these paragraphs. Coming back for what? To be another athletic, forgotten black guy in the mix and possibly hurt your neck again. Let's go back and tell the real truth of what it was. They made Kurt Angle a rib because of his black side piece girlfriend. What her name was, Raka Khan or whatever, in Impact. They thought that was funny so that they would make Jason Jordan his mixed son, and that Jason Jordan was Kurt Angle's bastard child. That was the peak of their WWE run. I can't remember one NXT match. You can have American Alpha or whatever you want to call yourselves. The reality is they brought back Shelton Benjamin. They should have brought back Charlie Haas. They should have had American Alpha. That would have been the whole year's thing to see who's the next Team Angle representatives, because they were identical, and Team Angle got over massively. But instead we get he's his illegitimate black son, and that's the fucking creative we're going with. That's what ruined this team. And then also taking unnecessary bumps, trying to get some dog shit over, instead of people standing up and going, no, this is way better if we would have had Haas and Benjamin make these guys and then go on to the next thing. Instead, everybody's career is ruined. all the money and investment and time you put into both Gable and Jordan is an absolute fucking, you might as well have lit it on fire, flushed it down the toilet or whatever it is, because there isn't a dime written on either of these guys. And now they've passed their window of opportunity to really get over and now this guy, it can't sleep at night, probably because his neck hurts too much, but also can't sleep because he knows he worked his ass off and never got the fucking psychological closure of, all right, I've lived my best creative life on WWE. Nope, you're Kurt Angle's illegitimate black son. Ready, go.
This is the hardest thing in wrestling. Obviously, nobody ever really walks away on their own terms at any point where they completely choose. Al Snow talks about it. You never walk away on your own terms. It's hard to do that. And most athletes or entertainers stay way past their prime. You get to see, them be a shell of themselves, or they go to a point where they can never come back from it. Talking about the neck. I know something about that. I know something about neck injuries and other things.
Show them the scar. Show them the scar.
Yeah. What
the mic's in the way. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the implant.
Yeah.
This is a scar right here.
The guy might know a thing or two about a thing or two.
I'm not easy on the eyes, though.
Sure you are.
That's easy on the eyes. We had that discussion last night. It's tough. Here's the thing. We're and I use the word blessed, but I'm grateful. There's no luck involved with this, whether you believe in God or not in God. We worked at it and there was some fortune, but it really is a grind. That's not as much of a grind now that I'm looking at it when we're past it. Like, it looks like a lot of heart. We're talking to a lot of talents that are trying to do the things we're doing right now and thinking probably the same thing that Jason Jordan is thinking, or most of the talent in WWE. Is this all there is to it? I'm sitting here collecting a check, and you have to honestly look at yourself of, am I really that over? Am I really that allowed to be over? Can I overcome this? Is it too hard to, my time's limited. I knew in 2005, I know I'm skipping around a little bit. I knew in 2005, my days were numbered, and I was there for 3 or 3.5 more years. I knew my push was done. I knew Right to Censor got shut down. I knew even the Stevie Night Heat stuff that I tried to have a little cocoon around me that they were ignoring got shut down when they discovered that it was over without their permission.
Mm-hmm.
Then, the slap in the face when ECW started, that I wasn't booked on one show for like 8 months. So when I came on and started just being Punk's, dedicated sparring partner for like 5 weeks in a row, it's, your spot. You're never going to come out from under it because Vince has an idea of what you are, whether you're an illegitimate black son, cross-dressing proud gay American, whatever he wants to do to destroy your career. It's just, you get to a point where either you stay within that nostalgia bubble and you're always waiting for the call, or you do what we do and the people we're talking to are attempting to do, and you carve out your niche and you try to actually make wrestling. Well, he used to wrestle, but he's doing this. Or he's the fitness guy or the resistance band guy or the home gym guy who used to be a wrestler. Like, wrestling becomes the afterthought. And it's kind of easier to do now than ever because, I hate to say it, Disco says it all the time, and I agree with him. Is it really the best time in history to be a wrestling fan? Is wrestling really over? I don't mean over like, I mean over like popular, over as in done.
Yeah.
Quite possibly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We could have seen the best days well behind us. So that could serve as inspiration to people. So long story short, Jason Jordan wanting to recapture this glory, recapture lightning in a bottle or anything else that they might have, this gleam or this spark that the office might have had for him. Dude, look at your career and look at your life moving forward objectively. Like I had to, like I talk about it on Russo where like, hey, I'm nobody to talk about like, wasted potential. I'm nobody to talk about ring gear. I'm honest with myself about that. Of course, it was Stevie Richards, the character, and Stevie Richards,
right.
the property, the intellectual property, not Michael Mann, the person, or Stevie Richards, the fitness property.
Right.
I separated those things. But I do understand that there's a stigma that's been put on me as, me and JTG like hiding out until we got fired or staying under the radar. Dude, I don't care because I make more money now as the Stevie Richards Fitness affiliate brand, the podcaster, and also the main resistance band program. If people have trouble wrapping their head around that, it's not that I'm making a ton of money. It's because people on TV are not making as much money as you think they are. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. You get 300K and 150,000 of that goes on to the road. Just being on the road every week, especially, and that's living light. You know what I mean? Not going in on $15 Waldorf salads every night and being delivered to your room. So, yeah, dude, Jason Jordan training for a comeback only to be brought back on. They have to reference what it was, your proud gay son or whatever, your black son, of whatever it is. Excuse me, proud gay American. But your black son, and that's supposed to fit in another athletic guy that what is the Hurt Business going to adopt him in there? What's going to make him special? Nothing's going to make him special. It's been a completely failed experiment because of the Rib Creative at the time they didn't stick up for. They had the opportunity to get made and say, no, I'm not going to do this. That's an insult to my own father and which is wrestling. You do whatever you're told to do in the carny world, but no one wants to stick up for the long term of their business. Well, that was your run. you had a hell of an NXT run for $750 a week. Mm-hmm. Then you got to the main roster and got ribbed, got hurt for not working smart or safe. And now 6 years later, we're supposed to be like, boy, I can't wait for him to come back. And it's not heat on Jason Jordan, but it's definitely setting up for zero payoff. The only payoff will be him getting hurt again and worse, possibly.
I want to, I did a video when all those talents were released. You talked about it. A lot of people talk favorably here on the Hami Media Group about that video. Do you realize how much hate I've gotten for that video? Between the hate from people say, I don't know where I came off bitter in that video or where I came off as, people saying like, I got emails. People know I don't read most of the comments, so they only email me the hate directly. So they're not so anonymous. But, to say that like, you're a jobber, what do you know about life after wrestling? Like, it's just that's why we have fucking Joe Biden as the president. And that's why we have the government we have, because those uneducated things like that. But who didn't reach out with one email? Who didn't even comment on the video? Any talent that no offense to Zack Ryder or anybody else there, but guys, you're living in a bubble that's going to burst and you're not trying to break out of that bubble. Guys, I really do care about it. And I want to see you do great. And I want to be transparent with the knowledge we gained and the mistakes they can avoid. But because we didn't get a fake push or we weren't on TV in the past few years, what do we know? That's fine.
They should relate to that better than anybody. The Hawkins and Ryder, and they look great.
I have no time. We're too busy now. We're too busy for that.
Stevie put up there. Somebody, I think Cujo said, Stevie works less days. No, he doesn't. Stevie works 7 days a week until he takes a break with his wife to go decompress in the mountains or what have you.
And then I film stuff for the.
While he's there, he's working. That's what I was going to say. So there is no they're in the bubble. We say bubble all the time. That's an easy thing to wrap around it, but that means so much more, not just what your mentality is of being in an abusive relationship, but until you break out of that, become your own boss. It's about ownership. The Hawkins and Ryder don't own anything except for a lot of wrestling toys and their podcast stuff. The fact that's great, but they're still in the bubble worried about working Ace Austin on Impact to stay relevant when both of these guys have more than paid their dues and they just need to get the fuck out and get away. You can reference wrestling like we do and keep your 1 foot in the door, but to make that your everything, you're truly cutting off all of your potential, because you should be taking all that and applying it to things outside of the bubble in order to increase your wealth, influencer sphere, all that kind of stuff. But they just can't quit. They just can't quit it because they haven't been outside of it, so they don't know. Took a year to break Dr. Ted's head out of it, and now he's cooking on all burners right now to be able to do what he wants to do. And we're growing more and more, but you would just get into it for so long. They just don't, they have no outside perspective whatsoever, man. And that's what's going on with Jordan here too.
In the working 7 days a week, here's the thing about wrestling. And I just want people to understand this. You do work and grind at wrestling. You do put up a lot of shit. I mean, the 10 minutes in the ring is the only part that matters sometimes, because you're putting up with 23 hours and 50 minutes of other bullshit. But you would say, oh my God, working 7 days a week or waking up at 2 or 3 a.m. to get your day started and doing whatever. That's because Ben and I choose to do that. That's the most freeing thing. That's the most terrifying but exciting thing about it. When you wake up, it's up to you each and every day. You eliminate excuses from creative, the office, this and that. You get out of the bubble of blaming other people too, which is also something in wrestling that I would do at times. And then I got sick and tired of hearing myself blame other people and go, what can I control? What can I do? What can I really make out of this? And it took a good probably 10, 15 years to even figure it out. We haven't even really got rolling until the past year or two. So, and that's the thing about a lot of the stuff with talent. And sure, Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder are great guys, and they're probably they probably have more initiative than most guys. What we're saying is outside of wrestling, the bubble kind of gives you a false positive of how unpopular and how much of a microcosm it really is. They've only scratched about 3 to 5% of the surface of their income potential. That's what I'm saying about that. Look, listen, this is for people that don't even know this. I've been trying for the past 18 months to talk to Adam Rank about getting a spot on the NFL Network and talk about NFL. Now that really didn't come to fruition, as much as Adam has really talked to people off and on and say, hey, I'll be on any kind of content you decide to do football wise. He's a great guy. He was on my wife's podcast. But now I'm looking at it like, okay, I'm a Philadelphia Eagles guy. Maybe I can do a Philadelphia Eagles podcast and start getting other Philly people on there, because I know a lot about the Eagles. I might not know a lot about the whole NFL, but I grew up in Philly. I'm a Philadelphia. I'm pivoting and trying these things. Maybe 9 out of 10 of them will fail, but that's the whole thing about finding what works for you. And I think also with wrestlers, and I know we're taking a lot of time with this, but with wrestlers, what is that, bro?
That was just an update thing.
With wrestlers, what happens is you start to paralyze by overanalyzing and saying, well, I mean, if it's not going to make me any money, I'm not going to do it. But if it's not going to, like, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if this happens? That's human nature. But wrestlers are more predisposed to be turned down for creative ideas because that's all they get from the office. So don't do that. I mean, failing is the best part about going into business for yourself. You have to fail. You have to, I told the story too, that only one person bought my resistance band program, the one that's the most popular one now, the 12-week. One person bought it. I'm convinced they only did it because they felt sorry for me. But I had to adjust the website. I had to adjust the message. I had to pare down all the affiliate stuff to concentrate on one thing for the next 2 years, the resistance band programs. The affiliate model started making money. The resistance program is kind of on autopilot. As much as I would like to create a new program, the 12 and 16 week haven't reached their audience yet. It hasn't sold enough for me to create a brand new one to confuse the audience of what to choose. So I concentrate on the affiliate model, which quite frankly makes me a ton more money. Not being selfish, not being whatever. That's just the nature of business. My energy put into the affiliate model produces more money and results. So thank you, Scott. I appreciate. Hey, I get back to everybody who buys the program and asks questions. So I do not neglect the program. I understand what's going to keep business moving. It's just a reality of it.
Like you have to dedicate your entire life to a product after it's been developed? Of course not. I mean, just community stuff. That kind of got me not hot about Sarah Logan, because I hope she does well and the pregnancy and everything goes well. I'm a fan of both the Viking Raiders guys. And I was a fan of hers too, even though, I did the pump a grumpy joke and her gear looked like we were wearing a diaper once in a while. But we did the fake arm break, and then they wanted to bring her back the next week after they fired her and Shayna was going to break her arm and all this shit, whatever. I had a whole show set up. You and I talked about this with my Woodsman's clique, and to have Mary Dooley and possibly myself host a show that was like a women's survivalist show, Bear Grylls style, where I could get those women from professional lumberjacks, and I wanted to help make Sarah Logan a big part of that, and even to have her own hunting show, because she's a archery enthusiast as well, and a huntress. So instead, can't fault it. You want to have a baby, you have a baby, but there goes everything. We're back to square one, and it's not like you can leave your kid to go do a fucking survivalist show for 2 months. Like, there's 3 years gone, just gone, but so be it. That's on them. And like Stevie says, we got to keep moving forward. We're not here to get anybody else's approval to say, yes, you can go forward doing that creative thing. And unfortunately, guys are more worried about facing Ace Austin on Impact with 10,000 live watchers on Twitch than knowing their true value and potential of what they could be and getting outside of that bubble. I hope they do, because both those guys I got a lot of respect for, both Ryder and Hawkins. And I hope that they can finally switch out and just be the bosses they should be. Somebody who switched out and quit. Maybe we'll try and get him for next week, but it's going to be tougher to get a hold of him. Former WWE star Val Venus quits Twitter, Stevie. Two-time IC champ, real name Sean Morley, has apparently quit Twitter after posting a series of radical messages that led to severe backlash from other tweeters. According to writing on his Twitter page, reads, "This account doesn't exist." I'm sure he'll be back next week. According to several Reddit users, Venus visited Parler, a social networking service, to share conspiracy theories and radical opinions. However, that page was taken down soon. Earlier this month, Val Venus was temporarily blocked by Twitter for violating social media platform child exploitation policy. His Facebook account was also blocked for a 30-day period as he shows pictures of Hunter Biden with a 8 to 10-year-old girl dressed in full lingerie, negligees, and, exposing the deep state off the laptop, off the deep Chinese threads where conspiracy theorists and truth seekers like ourselves and Val operate. Val obviously goes hard in the paint, and the shock value is important to him. Not a guy who, thinking, again, misjudged off of what your WWE gimmick was of being a porn star. But now when it's time for truth seeking, well, look at that porn star guy. He doesn't have any fucking cred. And then when he shows actual evidence and pictures and calls out The Rock, calls out Arnold Schwarzenegger, calls out Tom Hanks for doing exactly what they're doing, being part of a elite sexual assault gay mafia led cabal in Hollywood, Batista too, to get his pictures. And I just watched, I'll send this to you, it's Inspect the Deck from Wu-Tang Clan talking about when they were recording in California, and they went to the Hollywood mansion parties when they were over. Him and Ghost went in one, opened the door. He's like, don't open the door. If you go to those parties, don't open those closed doors, man. He's like, it was like Caligula in there. He goes, all kinds of orgies and shit, all mainly guys on guys. Like, I don't care. I got gay people in my family. He goes, but that was some different level shit, and you can't get it out of your head once you see it. And he goes, and afterwards, these rappers and athletes who, when we opened the door and they saw us and they were in there sucking some dicks, were all coming up to us afterwards, trying to buddy, being like, oh, you didn't know I'm suspect for the gay mafia. So all that shit goes on. And then when Val points it out, he's the marginalized, crazy fucking stoner who's way off his rocker. But here's fucking incident after incident after incident, backed up by pictures, backed up by other stars saying the same shit. But we got to marginalize Val.
Well, Twitter's a cesspool anyway. And the funny thing is that
I gotta say this because Daniel Price in here, he says Val got popped because he posted images of minors in compromising positions. He screwed up. Right idea, wrong approach. Disagree. Right idea, right approach. We've gone way too soft to like, hey, the laptop exists and we've seen the pictures, but I can't post them. No, it's time for fucking full. This is what we've seen. Explain it. You can't explain it, and they're going to unperson you. Guess who's the guilty party? Not Val Venus. That's him putting his ass on the line to fucking get the shit out there to the marks who fucking watch wrestling, who think all this shit that we spin is just a yarn and is just for our own entertainment. And it doesn't happen. When Val lays it down there and gets unpersoned, that should fucking reinforce that he exactly knows what he's talking about.
Didn't he say something about Hunter Biden with Obama's kid too?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen any of this stuff, but I know
he put up the picture with Lady Gaga smoking crack in the background. Like it's real. It's real.
Anyway, it's kind of funny that when this happens, then Val gets shut down and then says, like I said, and like Sal said the first time, you know, like, fuck Twitter, man. It's just a cesspool. It's not worth just getting into this bullshit or doing whatever. And then they go, yeah, you ran away because you're wrong. Like, what? You're not letting, you know, what's this right here? Steve is on her. Yeah. I always try to answer emails. I've tried. My wife has told me to, please just get some sleep. It's 2:30 a.m. You're answering emails. I just don't like to keep people hanging, especially all around the world. People are buying them. Now, what my wife sent me too that was very interesting was a tweet from Jack Dorsey back in 2006, May 23rd, 2006. Making the good pasta, reading through some amazing parts of the satanic verses, the golden threads begin to intertwine. And then, of course, Kamala Harris at a party with Ghislaine Maxwell.
Good stuff.
Pretty awesome. George Carlin, they're all a big club and you're not in it. The Wu-Tang almost got in it involuntarily, but that Tom, we go back to the first thing, the Tom Hanks thing reappearing on the day that Trump leaves and that entire administration or whatever policies they were creating are gone. And then the, same old comes in and he's marched out to celebrate for 90 minutes, the celebration of America. So.
They still can't figure out what happened to the 28 missing minutes of Eyes Wide Shut.
What's that?
Yeah, there's
I know the movie, but 28 minutes are missing.
Oh, yeah, they cut it because Kubrick died, right? And then it wasn't the same editor at the end, so they cut even more out of it. Of what
was Kubrick trying to expose things with the movie, and then they edited it to just make it a fantasy type movie.
The whole thing was supposed to be the expose of that upper level way before it ever was, man. Then that I'd love to see those 28 minutes. You got as much as I'd love to see the unredacted 28 pages of the 9/11 report as well.
I want to say this, that this is a thing here as wrestlers and as people that know the work and the deception and the people trying to get over and the agendas and all that stuff. So we're predisposed. Here's where they don't know how to work. Here's our Twitter and Jack Dorsey and all the things you just mentioned about the missing 28 minutes, the missing pages. When you suppress something, what do we think? When you hide something, when you redact, when you shadow ban, when you deplatform, you know what we say? There's some real truth in that, because why would you try to shut these people up?
It'd be way better to fucking feed into it and then dispel it further with even more crazy shit tied to it. So the reality line gets blurred. Canadian Spaceman says he gave Eyes Wide Shut DVD to his sister. Well, that's an interesting gift. She was curious about Freemasons. I am too. And kind of
related to the McMahons.
Kind of stupid. We're going to be working with April Hunter and Damian Sandow, Idol Stevens, and he popped because he knows when I would take digs at him in the past, not digs, but like all love for Big Brother Idol. But he's agreed to talk about being a 32nd degree Mason. Man, he said, Sheik, if you want me on your conspiracy show, I'll talk about Masonry with you. So to ask one, to be one, ask one. So looking forward to developing that April Hunter and Damian Sandow brand together, the A Show brand it's going to be called, and to really get into it with Idol. A 32nd degree Mason is the keeper. I didn't hit him with this. So the keeper of the Scottish Rite. So there's some high level secrets once you get to that, I'm sure. But It'd be interesting to see, I know he's done great things philanthropically in Louisville when we were there, but he's in Hollywood now, so it might be a different story altogether. So looking forward to helping with that awesome brand development over the next couple of weeks, Hami Media Group, and then also to get some inside Masonic stuff from a high-level Mason in one of our wrestling locker room brothers. We'll see which secret society stooges off the other.
That's two headlines. Sorry, we went off rants about all this
good,
stuff.
man. We can always cut headlines short. We'll just hit our time.
Hear about the bus.
It's the locker room. Undertaker, you might have heard of him, says the current product in WWE is a little soft, SAWFT. As a guest on Joe Rogan Experience, I'll probably listen to that today. Taker talked about his career with WWE and the current product. Taker mentioned the issues he has with the current product when Rogan asked him if he still follows wrestling nowadays. Taker said it's not something he enjoys to watch because of the way the product has changed over the years. It's tough for me right now. The product has changed so much, and it's kind of I'll probably piss a lot of people off, but they need to hear it. It is what it is. To the young guys who think I'm a bitter old guy, I'm not bitter. I did my time. I walked away when I wanted to walk away. I just think the product's a little soft. There's guys here and there that have to have an edge to them. Didn't they bring him back? To them, but there's too much pretty and not enough substance right now. The Undertaker spent over 30 years with the company. You guys know that. One of the big things that happened was a generation before. We all got old at the same time, so there weren't enough guys to work with the young guys. You can listen to the fans on the internet. You can listen to someone who's been there and done it. There wasn't enough of the merging of young and new talent. When we had Stone Cold, Rock, Triple H, Shawn, we're all working together, and then we all aged out. We aged out and left it to these young guys to learn more with young guys, and then the product changed. So the Performance Center is helping. We got Triple H who's trying to get some toothpaste back in the tube, take a step back to move forward to try and get the product more edge. I think that's what's missing. He ain't wrong, but it's not anything to do with Shawn and Brett and them not working with younger guys. Well, it might be because they wanted to protect their spots. So they're the ones who killed the uppers, bringing it that way. But really, it's heat on FCW and NXT, creating a factory system because Randy Orton got over in 2004, 2006. So they just wanted to create more and more of those. That's why they tell a guy like Rick Victor, shave your goatee and cut your hair. And then they don't get over. And then they go, oh, you know what? You should grow your hair and goatee back. And then he's back like the Undertaker, how he should have been. And they make him the Ascension. And then they bring him up and they fuck him over night one by burying Legion of Doom. So it's nothing to do with the guys. It's everything to do with the creative choices in making stars or not making stars. And then going to the Fruity Pebble fucking 4 to 8 year olds with John Cena for years and years and years, while Steph and Triple H do 25-minute opening monologues. If you're going to put it on anybody, put it on the fucking right people. Put the blame where it really lies. It's not them crossing over. It's the ego. It's the fucking eating up of time. It's the cookie cutter. We thought this was going to work. It's the marketing shifts to a women's revolution that's nothing more than tongue in cheek. It's marching out Baylor Club for everybody. We've got every queer level of stereotype under the sun, from trans to old gays together, but then we go right away from it. It's never about wrestling, creativity, and making the best show possible. That's number 15 or 16 down the list. And until that's number one, nothing ever changes.
He's right about no substance, because it's all style. Like you just said, it's all optics. It's all superficial surface type stuff. Also, no sense of urgency, no one to compete with. Money made them soft. Money made them lazy. And also you had it.
Box, yeah, right.
They had the foundation. See, they had the foundation of, let's just pop Vince and Bruce and maybe Pat. That's what their whole, like you say, it is. That's their motivation. Let's just pop ourselves with this, instead of saying, dude, if we don't make good TV, we're going to be out of business in 6 months. Much like the Monday Night Wars, they were on the verge of going out of business. That's when Vince and WWE, they can be determined or viewed as the leader in production or style or brand, but they need a fight. They need Tony Khan to go to Monday nights. I keep saying it. AEW needs to try to get them under 1 million viewers, and then Vince will be like, all bets are off. Now we need to.
That would get Khan over 1 million too, because if they're already at 700, 800,000, and
Khan's going to beat them on Monday nights for the first 2 weeks, just out of curiosity, out of novelty. And if AEW knows what they're doing, they'll go after. They got to look at the captain's log, but you have to, and they're too complacent too. When they say, well, we're happy with 1 million, we're happy where we're at, dude, there should be somebody in there. And I'm sure Arn, Dean, JR, all these people are saying, because they have a chip on their shoulder to get back at Vince for the way he treated them. And they're not even in the ring. Think about that. Think about the old school, dude.
How many of those guys, let me ask you this too, where you go, and I want you to make this point, but how many of those guys you just named, do you think Dean is a double agent or getting a hold of Vince, letting him know what's what, or da-da-da-da? Do you think there's a couple of old timers in there who act bitter and grizzled, but they're still in full fucking contact? Like they got their own little chat with Vince, like the Horseman chat?
They won't chat directly with Vince, but I'm sure Jamie Noble's real tight with like Dean and Arn and those guys from the agent days. I'm sure they're talking. Most of them all live in Florida or on the Southeast coast to some degree. So I'm sure, like you said, I mean, we mentioned a name earlier that was connected with AEW, best friends with Cody, the girlfriends or wives are all, there's certain elements that they're all dipping. You got Sean Spears and Tyler Breeze.
You got Ricochet posting pictures from fucking New Year's Eve with Adam Cole, Britt, all of them together. Like the Stooge report has never been like stronger if you want information, or the fact of, love them both, but Rebel is with Paradise and Rebel's with Britt, while Paradise is the top producer at fucking WWE. Like, of course it's all going back and forth. You know what I mean? Everybody knows.
So why won't they go to Monday? Why won't they go to Monday? Why has this never even come up? I think they even said something about Tuesday nights or a different night, but never mentioned Monday nights. Like, why is TNT not pushing? Like, you can get 1 million and you can bring them under. Dude, imagine if they got over 1 million the first week and Raw dropped to 700,000 or more.
And it's highly possible and probable. I would drop to 700 grand, but I bet they could get them down to 1.2 million.
Okay, but what about 1.2 million from 8 to 10? They run head to head, and then 10 to 11 still drops under 1 million because no one's watching it anyway.
I agree.
Exhausted.
That's some wartime consigliere fucking stuff right there, Stevie. I agree 100%.
Well, because what happens is when you start ignoring minute by minute or quarter hours, you don't know who's truly over and who's drawing ratings, then who deserves more money. And then you have the incentive of, if I get over and I draw the quarter hour or minute by minutes and I beat AEW, or on the AEW side, we beat WWE, you have more to go to the Tony Khans and Vince and say, look at these ratings. I'm getting over. I need you. You should run with me. Maybe that's by design, because once again, like if you get over, then Triple H will just say, we're not going to create another Cena. We're not going to do that. If the Jags are on Monday, I guarantee you that you're not going to want to watch the Jags anyway. Even if Urban Meyer is coaching and Trevor Lawrence is the quarterback, you still have the same front office.
Here's the thing. If this is where even he doesn't get it this way. Stevie, we're invested in multiple businesses. Do you ever talk about
more now?
Do you ever talk about Force USA on fucking Russo brand?
Yeah.
Shocker. Do you think that fucking AEW should cheerlead for the Jaguars, and that when the Jaguars play on Monday night, that the whole fucking AEW show should be set up around the success of the Jaguars and AEW together with synergy, instead of keeping them apart completely as entities that don't fucking cross over? If anything, that is your biggest opening, where Vince wants Gronkomania and he can only get Gronk. You got a whole cock-sucking team at your disposal. Why wouldn't you have AEW pump the Jaguars brand instead of just worrying about getting a still shot with JR in the fucking skybox with whoever else to be like, hey, we're here, me and Adam Cole and Britt Baker, look at, we're breaking kayfabe? No, one washes the other, and then you fucking have the Jaguars on the Monday they're not there at ringside singing Jericho's fucking theme when they come out. But
I have one more idea for you.
Go ahead.
Another idea. Why not try to talk to ESPN and TNT to have a simulcast when the Jaguars play at home? You have wrestling matches during halftime in the stadium.
Why not go picture in picture and show the Jags game?
That's true.
During commercial.
Yeah, you're right.
People are these are the billionaire owners who don't even know how to do marketing at a fucking undergrad level.
It's fun to think of that kind of stuff, right?
All these properties that could come across, and that you have all these opportunities and to get guys over from NFL onto your product, but chances are you're just going to show them yawning or throw water in their face and not pay it off, or go up and have them do one of the shittiest splashes of all time and expose themselves. So that's your choices, or you can keep going down the way you want to with Peter Avalon and whoever else, or you could tap into an NFL audience on a Monday night, support all of your brands, and look even bigger than WWE. Does WWE own a fucking NFL football team? No. They had to start their own XFL, which failed miserably, and now that's another way for you to rub it in and go, we work with the NFL, not those failed organizations. We're actual you could be fucking wailing on them. But even if your team is 1-12 in the shits, they're still in the NFL and Vince isn't, and that makes you better, but we don't use any of that synergy for how we should.
Do we have an interpromotional story about them and Impact? I'll wait for my comments on that to add to this.
There's takers on Rogan. I'm not sure.
That was weird. You ever get that?
What's that?
I just got a weird case of deja vu. Like we did that exact. Did you get that?
I didn't get it there, but I've had them before.
Weird, man.
If we would have had shared deja vu, that's fucked up. Group mind deja vu. I don't know if that's possible. But Khan was on Impact this week. He discusses having an on-screen role with AEW. He says, while on-screen authority figures have always been big in wrestling, so far Tony Khan hasn't been using that way. According to Khan, that's not going to change anytime soon with this massive paragraph. He says, no, it's not something I'm interested in, and I came close to doing it as I will. I made a big exception coming out for the Brody Elite Tribute Show, and I thought it was the right thing to do to be there on behalf of a company, and everybody knows how much Brody meant to us. I wanted to pay the highest respect to him that I could, and Amanda and Brody, and be there for them. But other than that, I've never come out and done that in a role, occasionally because of the story on Impact at times where I think it makes sense, but I don't want to do that. We have a limited amount of time, and we have a great roster, and a lot of other people are going to be featured, and frankly, the character of GM doesn't need to be featured on TV a lot. I'm the GM of the Premier League team. You don't see me on NBC very much. The job of the GM is to not be on TV a lot. There's a time and place, and if there's a statement that needs to be made or you got to say something, then you do. And in the case of AEW, it's announcing matches, and Fulham, it can be announcing players, or someone is coming in on loan or once every few years saying, guys, you need to do a better job. But for me, the role of GM, there isn't a need for that person to be on TV consistently. And the device that you need, I think of myself as more of a device. Some would say tool, some device.
You want some interpretation of that?
Hold on one second here. Don't like to appear on camera, but this week on AEW. Whoops, wrong way.
Where's the last picture? Go ahead. That's not a PR, by the way.
Well, the last picture is really this one.
You deserve the paycheck. You answered, so do we.
He's earning every cent of it with that face, brother. I don't need to be on camera. I'm not this, that, or the other, but I cut promos every week on Impact to get myself over, puffing my arms out that are awkward, where I need to have Shivani standing next to me, or I need to have Jerry Lynn there because I have to have a babysitter at all times so I don't say anything too crazy, and I have to give myself some credibility from the past because I really don't have one. but I don't want to be a character, but here I come with a Star Trek captain's log to sit at ringside, pull focus, and fucking smile longingly at whatever. Like, what do you think he was writing down? What do you think he was writing down in the captain's log? Star date, whatever it was, January 18th, 2021, at Impact. The great notes that he was writing down from Private Party versus whoever the Stamets was in the fucking main event there. What notes do you think?
Matt Hardy burning Private Party and saying these guys don't talk for themselves.
Yeah.
All right, here. I want somebody to screenshot this right here and clip it and send it to Tony Khan.
Oh boy.
All right. I'm going to see your captain's log. You ready, guys? And I'm going to raise you a tri-dimensional chess set. There you go, Tony Khan.
I like it.
Franklin Mint tri-dimensional chess set. See if you can match this, Tony Khan.
I like that. Well, I think
I'll get a job just for owning this. He'll be like,
that's why I think there should just be a thing on Being the Elite or Dark where you're backstage playing 4D chess with Khan, and it also gets our 4D chess conspiracy horseman argument. So,
you want my take on this because I witnessed this firsthand with Dixie Carter.
Please.
This is the most dangerous thing you can say to workers is, I don't want to be on TV. I don't want to, because all they're going to do is feed your ego. Like they used to do Dixie. Oh my God, you look so good on TV. You're drawing rate. Like, it's so nice to see that you can cut a great promo. You don't think Cody and the politicers there are saying, man, it's just so great because you have such a disarming presence. You're not like other billionaires. You're so good. And everybody loves seeing you on TV. It's such a positive, whatever they want to say to Tony, or even if your arms look good on TV, keep doing that. Yeah. Yeah, the Star Trek log really shows people that it humanizes you. There you go. It humanizes you. Dude, come on. All these things could be true. Tony Khan seems like to be a perfectly nice guy. And I'm really happy that there's guys that are getting paid a living wage throughout the whole pandemic, and these guys are making money. But the thing is that you're not setting yourself up, in my opinion, for a legacy where your money can be made 10, 20 years from now, or keep AEW afloat. It just really does feel like a money grab. As much as people are saying it doesn't, it totally does. And that's every indie promotion. That's TNA. That's WWE. They're working that old man in WWE. Let's have a baby and put it in Vince's arms. God damn, there's another $100,000.
Give me that baby.
Do you agree or disagree with any of that?
I agree 100% with that. It's just what level are you going to be in front of the boys to make yourself out to be a character and go into business for yourself, or you're really going to support it all and do it when you need to? And I just don't know if he's got the wherewithal to tell the difference between the two. So it's the same as these things that we had before the company even opened. These SJW, this is our foundation, and we're not bringing in ex-WWE guys. We're not doing that. We're definitely not bringing them into. Here comes Taz. Here comes, here they all come, bro.
By the way, Dixie wanted to be on TV, but she was constantly saying in backstage and even on TV and interviews that she did not want to be on TV. The boys saw, yes, you do. Yes, you do. And we're going to, Tony Khan, same thing with the biggest smile on his face.
I do it all the time. Sorry.
That's Saturday afternoon birthday party. That's a picture of him and Gary Lane.
No. They not open the show, but second segment. And believe me, I'm not trying to go in on -1 here, besmirch anything for Brody. They're doing a decent thing. Dude, they did a fucking 12-minute segment with Dark Order and Brody's kid because it was his birthday 3 days ago, and did a whole birthday party thing on their show last night, bro. For 12 minutes. They ate up 12 minutes of TV time.
Okay.
In Luther was the payoff. So there's that. Somebody asked me, would you ever go to Abu Dhabi and work? Yeah, I would go there and work. Absolutely. I mean, very safe and forward thinking. I made
Arabs there.
Yeah, they're just building stuff. They're not doing that down. I've also tried to work with Ali Marafi, who is pretty big name Arab promoter wise and trying to do things and bring, he's brought a lot of shows there. However, I think he knows me based on doing the gimmick and the extremists that he doesn't want to touch it. So I'd probably have to shift focus fully or become Bin Hameen Al Amariki to do that. I've also had there's these guys in Lebanon, man. Mohammed Sharif, you can look at him, Charaf, who should have been signed a long time ago. All those guys are on serious B12, like they make Braun look like an amateur, the amount of B12 these guys take. But Muhammad Ali Sharif has been in tons of commercials over there, and he's 6'10", probably 370 pounds, rock solid muscle, and a legit MMA badass and martial artist. But then you see pictures like it's super homoerotic, but really it's just the Muslim culture of men hanging out with men versus women. But you'll see him and his boys down by the riverside in some old, like looking stuff. Dude, every one of his boys looks like they could fucking deadlift 750, 800 pounds. They're all gassed to the fucking gills, and they do what they can do in Lebanon, almost an all men's show. I've seen in these back tennis courts or basketball courts that they would have at a local, park or something. And dude, Muhammad Sharif, who we call himself Jihad, just looks fucking like a star compared to everybody else. But then his boys come out and they're all got their arms wrapped to fucking hide sight injections from the oils that they're injecting. But bro, every one of them's got at least 22 to 26 inch arms. They're fucking these massive Lebanese guys. And to be honest with you, I expected those guys to jump on me and be like, what the fuck are you doing trying to represent us like that? They all love Bin Hameen. So I want to go to Lebanon and fucking soldier up with the gas squad, man. And I wouldn't mind doing a little tour like that. And before I retire, hit up UK, hit up Australia, have Zoran Timuric book me down there. Have others get me on in UK and Germany and Scotland, and that's how I like. And then I'll end up in Japan and beat everybody, and that's how I'd like to end my career. To be honest with you,
sounds like a good plan. Hey, that explosion in Lebanon went away pretty quick, didn't it?
Yeah, how about that fucking false flag attack? Also, Matt Riddle poses backstage with Gilbert to rib Goldberg. He says, real legends are bros, and this stallion is 10 times the man Willie G could ever be. So Goldberg and Riddle having a good time together backstage, Briz. Glad for Gilbert that he gets a shot, especially after everything he went through health-wise. Come on, you fucking camera. But here we are at the lowest level. Vince McMahon ribbing 1998 shit 23 years after the fact. Just bad creative, all the way around.
He's still trying to keep it alive, and he doesn't really care if Goldberg, because Goldberg kept saying, now we're not doing this or whatever. I don't know.
But how about
Riddle still has very much a UFC background. I would not bet against Matt Riddle with Goldberg. I'm sorry.
They just released just stopped the weed ban. So the Diaz brothers are on his way back, and it was on Riddle's birthday too. So he's like, bro, best birthday news I could have gotten, So
he may go back.
Yeah, I think he's going back too.
Well, he just signed a deal, didn't he, for like $400,000 for 3 years or whatever.
Yeah. Why wouldn't they let him go to go do that, And to be honest, I think the fight, if you want a fight of the stoners, it's in Bellator versus Jake Hager. I think Jake Hager versus fucking Riddle would be awesome draw, bro. Interpromotional on a neutral ground shoot fight.
Well, I don't know if the weight classes would be. That's a whole different thing. That would be what I hope wrestling would be weight classes or size or super heavyweight stuff like we've talked about for months. Riddle versus Goldberg at Bellator would be a draw.
Yeah, it would be. But in between rounds, they should have to smoke a blunt. Like they come down to the ring smoking one. Yeah. I think that's the equalizer. It won't matter size difference at that point.
Has WWE do they still have the fine for that?
Yeah, I think so. But it applies to some people. And, now that he's gone, guys like Brody would take some of their t-shirt money, sock it away. So when the fine came, they would just fucking pay it out of that and not have like all the bullshit.
Still money lost, man. That's still money you may never make again.
I agree. And then guys like Randy Orton don't get fined. So it's a double standard all the way across the board, dude. Like everything else going down. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there on the fight, but I think Riddle whooped Goldberg's ass 10 out of 10 times. And then B, I think that would be a good fight, even though the weight class, I don't think they're that far apart, maybe 20 pounds. And I came up with Hager, and I tremendous respect for his amateur wrestling ability. There's no doubt about that. But he's kind of fought scrubs in Bellator. Fucking Riddle had to fight legit fighters all the way up through to get to UFC, and I think his skill set is way more polished than Hager's is. And Hager's got good upper body, but if you look at his legs, very thin legs, bro. And I think if you take him off his legs, then it's going to be a completely different world for him versus Riddle in the choke game.
I wonder about striking too, because Hager obviously isn't, the amateur wrestling, but then Riddle's got jiu-jitsu. I mean, Riddle's no slouch with any of that stuff, what he's presented on his TV. And I would dare say Riddle's got a bit of more of a chip on his shoulder because he's being ribbed on TV. So he might want to beat somebody's fucking ass.
Mm-hmm.
Hager's kind of like, yeah, I got it pretty good. A little more content. In my opinion,
look at the working shots they're throwing. Look at the working shots they're throwing versus Sheamus. These fucking fights he's in on TV look as real as most UFC fights nowadays.
And Lashley, I think, would kill everybody. Lashley versus Goldberg would be something.
Wouldn't that be an awesome pay-per-view? Lashley versus Goldberg, Riddle versus Hager, and then CM Punk versus the girl.
Retirement for that fight.
Yeah, the girl that Kenny.
I think that would be the MMA fight I would do, would be against Punk.
I would too. I think we could tag team against him. Would be good.
Two of you guys to beat me.
WWE reportedly signs former Evolve Tag Champs. Has signed 36-year-old independent wrestler and former Evolve Tag Champ Anthony Henry. Anthony Henry was able to take advantage of the WWE relationship on multiple occasions and was not among the initial group of wrestlers when WWE bought Evolve outright in 2020. A 36-year-old signee from the Indies. Is there hope?
For who?
Me. No, but you're going to be in NXT for 2 years. You'll be 38. They'll go, no way this guy's able to get on as a worker to bring you up. So I would start thinking about how can I be a manager and facilitate younger talent and plug in to get them over. I think that's for a 36-year-old going to WWE as a signee, you're either a coach or a manager.
Well, I mean, but 38 is, by the time he gets up there, 38 is still going to be pretty. I mean, there's guys that have been signed in their mid 30s. There's guys that are not much younger than that. Think about it. You're bringing 50 and 60 and 70-year-olds out on Raw. So, I mean,
you look young.
38 is a zygote.
Roman Reigns says a WrestleMania 39 match with The Rock makes sense. Does it? We're talking about WrestleMania 37, WrestleMania 39. It makes sense. We're just going to skip a whole another year and just, go to Hollywood for WrestleMania 39. I think it just makes sense, Reigns said to Fox 1. He's the biggest box office attraction from the big screen. So to be able to take that and match it up with the biggest box office attraction in sports entertainment, I think some magic would be made. Obviously, they have some inside knowledge on whatever The Rock's next big franchise is and why they're pushing it that way. So The Rock will be on top based off of his burial of Trump and, embracing the gay mafia. So Rock's going to get his shine over the next 2 years of Jumanji 4 and whatever the fuck else they're going to reboot and stick him in. And by that time, Rock has got it planned in Hollywood. This will be the most over.
Rock could be running for office by that time.
It might be the way. It might be the first way out for sure.
I was laughing because I just saw a GIF of I don't know if you have an NXT thing. This tag team and this girl did the spiral tap like AJ does. It's like a back bump. It's so weird.
I skipped the story of 3 other indie girls they just signed based off the Mae Young Classic. So, I mean,
All right, I want you to see. I'm going to send this to you in chat.
all right, they're signing more and more girls, and really the ones they have in ring that they've dedicated 5 years to can't get over themselves. Like they're still having an issue with Charlotte Flair, an iconic #1, keeping her leg on the rope for a fucking spot. I don't really have much faith in the next 3 girls they've recruited. Let's see here. This kid.
Plus, the girl that's on the mat is on her stomach with her face down and doesn't see it coming. It looks like it hurt her.
Team retard for the win.
And I hit the back of my head on an offensive. Dude, is that sums up the women's division right there.
And then crawl over 1-2 kick out.
Oh, there was a kick out on that?
Well, but I'm sure there was. I'm sure that wasn't the finish. Almost 100%. That wasn't the finish.
Oh my God. You have to listen to Russo, the Raw SmackDown review on the Realm Network for your take on the women's evolution and how good they think they are and how good they really are.
They really are, yeah, or really aren't. Stephanie McMahon reveals WWE is planning to bring fans back for WWE WrestleMania 37. Oh, yeah? Working with local organizations, all the health officials, health and safety, and first and foremost, of course, Stephanie says, for our fans, for our performers, for our employees, for the staff working in the building, there's a lot of different logistics that need to be determined, but hopefully it'll all work out. And this will be the first WWE event where we actually bring the WWE universe back together in person. I cannot wait. That's this year, right? WrestleMania 37. Have we started selling tickets? We're only 3-4 months away. Like, what is the plan for this? There's so many things that can be shut down. Why would you even come out and say that kind of stuff to get the backlash instead of having it as a plant way, the same way the NFL did, where all of my favorite Hollywood friends were like, I can't wait for the playoffs. And then they see fans in the stand. Wait, what? There's fans there? Boy, I hope that doesn't do a COVID outbreak. That's pretty irresponsible. But wait, I thought you were towing the line of all this banning before. So another spoonful of shit that they got to eat now that Biden's in office. Apparently COVID will just ease away and we can get back to what we wanted to. And the whole thing wasn't a power play at all during that time. So don't hold any animosity for them. It's because you guys got rid of all of the audience for the NFL and we hurt these industries. That's why we beat COVID. So thanks, everybody. Now let's get back there for WrestleMania.
Well, this was as of, like yesterday, the news. This is Vox, by the way. Another one that really loves to deplatform everybody that doesn't agree with them. I sent this in the chat. Just pay attention to the first line, because this happens as Biden is being sworn in. As the pandemic winds down.
As the pandemic winds down.
The pandemic winds down. Of course, it was getting worse than ever before January 6th when everybody certified the election. But also it's weird how right after January 6th and we knew that Biden was going to be president, the playoffs all of a sudden have people in the stadiums when there was no people before that. This cannot be a coincidence. And now it's winding down. And now we're looking hey, maybe WWE won't have fans, or they'll be the last one because the administration and the liberals, because of the support of Trump, which, by the way, they're targeting people that have supported Trump in the past, and his wife worked for Trump. Maybe they'll be held up in red tape, and they won't be able to get fans back until WrestleMania 38, just to fuck them over a little bit and cause some pain. That's a real possibility.
Absolutely, it is. It's all the masters showing what they can do. Canadian Spaceman, you're fired. Stephanie looked good on Raw. That WrestleMania update segment was funny. Still not sure if the future dates are serious or not. It wasn't funny. It was as low level, stupid as possible, from Henry E. Pankey to Anita Real Man, Anita Bush, whatever the fuck you want to do, these stupid 1960s comedy spots. And then to set up a reality where it's Triple H and Steph playing newsroom, and then the next cut goes to Roman Reigns and Paul to say no to that game is against all logic of improv when you're trying to set up satire and parody. So that was a stupid directing choice, only to march out the greatest actress of all time from The Mandalorian to call herself whatever it was, Wendy Queef, to big lead a fucking intern on camera, which led to nothing, only to follow up with a John Cena, "You can't see me" gag about Hollywood when he's not on our main roster, not doing any business whatsoever. So it shows to me that they have 0 stars. The one star that they had from crossover, they don't even touch on the Mandalorian stuff, which she should have been the Hollywood one. And it's just Triple H and Stephanie playing newsroom, playing house, playing post office with their children. And now guess who gets to sub in for their children? The audience. We do. And that is not good TV. That is the lowest level shit that there is, even with Triple H not staying in character and having to show at the end that this is all of tongue-in-cheek time. Yeah. Thank you for wasting 3 fucking minutes of my life. Demand better. Demand better. It wasn't good. There's nothing good about it.
I was shocked. The YouTube thing is one thing for their channel, but then to bring it out, I don't even know if they brought it out on SmackDown. I can't remember, but to bring it out on Raw when you didn't make it like a website or YouTube kind of like off-branded exclusive, that just proves they didn't have, they were like, we got 5 minutes to fill. Let's throw this in. Or they really thought it was great. And they said, we got 1 million views on it on the YouTube channel. Maybe 1 million extra people will just watch this segment. Who knows what they're thinking?
Serena Deeb reflects on working with CM Punk, what she learned from him. She said, I learned that Wednesday is free comic book day. No, it was a learning experience working with somebody like Punk. He has a very strong personality, has strong beliefs. He'll fight for those beliefs until the day he dies, and he'll not apologize for it. I got to respect him for that to some degree. I think that's what got him really far in wrestling and gave him a lot of success. Not only that, but that's a quality that I think I really worked for him. He would speak up and he would speak his mind. If he didn't like something, he'd communicate that. There were several times he didn't like something and it was changed. So I learned a lot from him just in terms of confidence, somebody who I really admired in that realm. I think a few favorite moments, obviously doing WrestleMania, Punk wrestled Mysterio, and probably my favorite moment was the entire time managing was that in that match when Punk was on the ropes ready to take the 619, Ray hits the ropes, I hop up on the apron, and there were 72,000 people there in Phoenix. The boos literally across my back. I felt those boos just standing on the apron, this little 5'4" girl in this huge stadium, and that the people were so mad at that moment. It was just an awesome feeling. Heels need heat, and the devious one knows what she's talking about. Even when he's one of the guys who cut her throat, she'll take a learning lesson and put it back out in the universe in a positive way. So I hope he learned something from her, but I don't think so.
How did that go? I don't know about that story.
Oh, well, you know, when she got caught straight edge society out at the bars drinking and whatnot, it was Gallows and him that were the fucking ones to be like, take her out. You know what I mean? So that was what set it on that path. And that's what took 5 to 6 years of rebuilding to be shown as the greatest women's wrestler on the planet right now, compared to everybody else who's a factory cookie cutter cutout who doesn't get psychology at all. Kofi Kingston reveals how he suffered his jaw injury. He says, back to when I injured my jaw. So I got kneed in the face by Cedric Alexander 3 weeks ago. A couple of my teeth were chipped. Oof. It was fine. It was cool. It was cool. No, it wasn't. The point of impact was really sore. So I thought, okay, it's a bruise or whatever. The next week we had a 6-man match and everything was fine. A little pain, but not terrible. Then the next week, right before we went out, it just kept feeling like it was loose. As soon as we get out there to the ring, I'm moving around now. I feel it kind of come out of place and wasn't set in. I feel like if the fans were there, I wouldn't have felt the pain throughout the whole match. Every time something would happen where I hit or when I would get hit or whatever, I would just grab my jaw the entire match. I'm thinking about it the whole time. But if we had fans there, I'd been not necessarily injured, but been hurt in the match. You just feel the adrenaline of the crowd, and it makes your will makes your will go through it. So I don't know. It changes the whole dynamic of just how we do and what we do and the approach even. It's just really, really strange. And I don't know if it's for better or for worse. I guess the best way I can describe it is just being different. So I guess that's, with no fans in there. But Cedric Alexander, flying knee, Stiffsky, and chipped tooth, and really cracked the jaw, man. Happened.
Where's the medical staff to check on him? Why do you feel like you need to go another week with that?
I don't know, man. Thinking it was just a chipped tooth and taking a stiff shot, but that sucks. I mean, he's probably going to be on the shelf for a couple months because of that. Jaw wire. I'm not sure if they got it wired or not. How it's going to go back, but. That's a guy who's taken lots of bumps, man. Big ones. A lot of punches on that bump card.
Yeah, and who knows if he got a concussion. I'm assuming you might have if you snap back on that, getting jaw jacked.
Khan probably does.
The whole thing with that, why would you this is what I mean. Like the wrestling, I believe that Cedric, who's I've met a few times, he's a good guy. I'm not saying he maliciously did it, but you're trying still in the mind of, instead of getting over, you're still looking for a pop because they've been so conditioned to listen to the crowd and hear the pop that they almost have, we've seen it, right? We're almost hitting each other harder, trying to get a pop from a crowd that's not even there. We've got to shift our focus because you don't have to worry about drawing crowds right now. Everybody should be getting over to a point of just, I don't know. We talked about it when there was no fans and they were the only live sports going out there for how many months, and they didn't take advantage of really resetting the product.
And Daniel Price got a point here. They had Baylor kick O'Reilly in the face while he's biting the ropes. Moronic.
My God.
These guys think that it really is a video game, that your bones won't break, and that because you saw it on your Xbox and you did it on Twitch, that it's going down in the ring with no fucking consequences whatsoever.
No, that's not why.
Go ahead, please.
That's one reason, but here's the real reason why. They're trying to reinvent the wheel. They're trying to do, if I do something no one's ever done or saw before, I'll get over with the officer. But there's a reason why biting the ropes and getting kicked in the face has never been done in pro wrestling, because there's a reason why nobody back in the 80s and the 90s bumped on the apron. There's a reason why nobody ever put a trash can over their head and jumped off a cage. There's a reason why these things never happen. So these things will never get you over, because guess what? The only reason I remember these things is not because they were memorable moments, is because as a worker, I say, well, I was fucking stupid. You're remembered for the wrong reasons. And I'll forget 2 hours from now that Finn Balor kicked Kyle O'Reilly's face as he was biting the ropes. It's not going to create a memorable moment.
It creates a moment of they were stupid. That's all it does to me. It doesn't go, oh man, did you see that? I go, oh man, did you see how fucking dumb that was?
He
gives him a cradle pile driver on the fucking apron and kick out, or that's just a transition. You're done. You're not good at this. What we do, you're not good at it.
Why do you think MVP came back and it was supposed to be a one-off after that Rey Mysterio match? And then he came back and they wanted him to be an agent. And then all of a sudden he's probably one of the top 3 acts in the company. Why do you think that is?
Gets it.
He's not exactly the most athletic guy. I'm sure jiu-jitsu is a different story, but I'm talking about he's not as athletic as Ricochet and these other guys, or O'Reilly or Balor. He's not as, how should I say? I would say, well, he looks like a real man. He doesn't look like a Ken doll or a beauty guy, but when he talks and he says stuff and he interacts, even with the shitty creative that they give him, it sounds believable. Yep. It sounds conversational. It sounds unscripted to some degree. That's why, because by process of elimination and attrition and low bar, the MVP is going to have a job for as long as he wants to.
My beard smells really nice today. Using handlebar shampoo. Smells really good and piney. Before we get to our last story of the day here, gonna do the mid-roll once again for Podcorn, you guys, podcorn.com. Go over there, check it out if you're a podcaster and you're looking to get hooked up with other podcasters to grow your community. If you're looking to get sponsorships, partnerships, there's all types of ways you can pitch. You get to name the price over at podcorn.com. You write a nice Stevie Richards amazing email, say the numbers you're doing and what you're trying to do to grow your company, and maybe you're going to find some great synergy between a product and what you're trying to push, and chances are they're going to be interested in the same things if you feel that. So go to podcorn.com. They're help support Hameen Media Group right now by placing ads with us, you guys, and we know we have lots of content creators listening all the time to us across the board in this niche market. So thank you very much again to podcorn.com. Get over there, guys. Check it out. Get your RSS feed and sign up and make some money off of your art. It's labor of love, but if you're putting the time in and you build the community, that's the place to go to find advertisers who want to be in that podcast realm. So one more time, podcorn.com. And our final story of the day, Stevie, are you ready?
Sure.
All right. Adam Pearce, he finally explains why certain WWE stars can declare for the Royal Rumble matches. Adam Pearce provided an answer to one of the most frustrating questions that pops up every single year. Why can certain WWE superstars simply declare themselves for the annual Royal Rumble match while others must compete to earn an opportunity? If you've ever been on Twitter during a January episode of Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown, you've undoubtedly heard this numerous times from WWE fans complaining. It's actually pretty simple, says WWE producer on screen authority figure tweeted. Those that have been granted the ability to simply declare entry into the Royal Rumble by management are free to do so. Those that haven't must qualify. I don't write the rules, I just enforce them. So who is the one that grants this ability? I don't understand that answer, but at least Pearce is trying to make a little sense out of these things that Vince says, we'll just wait till next week. We'll get them, like trying to pick up details and say what's what. I was thinking about, why don't we have scenes with, what is it in Major League when guys get cut from the fucking team, the movie, there's like a red ticket in their locker. That could be a whole thing throughout the month of there's going to be 5 red tickets given out a show, and you know what I mean, in the locker room or in your bag, and somebody finds it and somebody doesn't, and that can breed jealousy. But this just, I declare bankruptcy, to be able to fucking think that that's the way that you're going to get in the Royal Rumble with no rules, no random draw, no ping pong ball fucking lottery, none of that. We just have to go with terrible creative choices because that's the easy way to go, man.
Well, I mean, it's probably not a good time to declare anything. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
man. Like that. This is like declaring yourself in the NFL playoffs or the Super Bowl, or nothing is earned and nothing is realistic. I remember like one of the more original Royal Rumbles before it was, for the title. I'm talking about the Duggan, the first one, the second one. Dude, everybody had something going on, and there was always an angle that came out of that, like maybe 3 or 4. If you threw me out of the Rumble, now I'm going to have an angle with you leading to WrestleMania. It started new business.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to jump in. Cujo says there's 30 golden tickets hidden inside of Wonka bars, but that means Nia Jax would be in the Royal Rumble 30 times. So, I mean, that's not going to work either.
Yeah, which was actually, I think, the last interesting thing outside of the Keith Lee, Brock Lesnar thing. But how many times the Royal Rumble has a lot to do with the crowd's reaction of the countdown, the things like that. Now you're in a very dystopian type the echo chamber. Now, we don't want this guy to get over, so we don't know he's going to cheer when he comes out, or he's a jobber or a lower level. Nobody's going to cheer, and Hunter's going to get a bigger pop when he comes out.
Got to.
They're controlling the entire narrative. This Royal Rumble is going to be one of the most disingenuous, even with me in it. But one of the most did you catch that? Yeah, the disingenuous type of false positives. I would not want to be a wrestler in today's era, especially at some place like Impact where there's absolutely no people.
Pretty stiff, man. Well, I mean, you got two guys in the crowd, one with a captain's log, so they're up in their game. Yeah, man. I appreciate Pearce, even when he was trying to do stuff on his Facebook Live this week to fill in the gaps in the storyline of Roman Reigns. So at least he's really doing his best as he can to stay neutral, make up little bits and pieces of creative so everybody doesn't look stupid. And nothing he's done has really served Adam Pearce on camera, and I like that, man. So
he still should have been. They should have still went through with the match.
Oh, absolutely. It should have been him versus Reigns with the run-in from Owens to F over Reigns to get Pearce over. That's the real and best business. And they shot that in the foot this week. So going into their own pay-per-view, they're just doing another repeat match that we've seen since SummerSlam that no one gives a flying fuck about. They couldn't even go the creative way, bro. So I expect it to be as riveting as you expect it not to be. But we'll be watching regardless. But Stevie, we made it through the mailbag once again, my man. Or the headlines, not the mailbag, I should say.
Thank God we didn't even get to the bus or anything, but that's okay.
Yeah, Cody got a bus, you guys.
Super road.
He's on the road going back from Florida to Atlanta. We need to have that bus just for not status. I'm sure it's not status at all. You know, it's just.
But he is getting a rap for it. Hey, God bless him. I'm talking about the same thing as the marijuana fine. I'm like, you only really sometimes get one chance to make that kind of money. Save every bit of it that you can. If you want to spend it, that's absolutely great. I just feel a completely different way. The more money I make, the more I try to save, invest, and spend less. That's the old Lanny Poffo, Dave Ramsey type thing. If you spend less than you make and you have passive income, then you can retire.
Do you think that he has room for a full rack in the back from forceusa.com/Stevie so he can keep that 19 pounds of muscle mass on or even increase it?
I'd be willing to talk to him. I might be persona non grata in the Smyrna, Marietta, Georgia area, but I'm willing to talk to him. He's always been nice to me. I have
me too, man.
No issue with any of that stuff, but we got to call what we do. If we were going to be executives in a company and just push ourselves to the moon and have more pyro and all this other stuff, then I expect everybody to call us out too. We're waiting for the day that we can peel back, right? Being in the background.
I would like it, and it's none of these are shots on them. It says of personal, because Cody was great to me too, man. I mean, even remember back in the day when he went up to the main road and I had written him just a nice email saying, dude, you were very cool guy as far as me being older, and you had a lot of maturity to you at that young age and taking care of the guys in the locker room. And writes back, if we're in a war, you're the guy I want a foxhole with me, Pops. That means a lot. And it is true of what we did, to go across. Now, circumstances may be different, and you never know. I might jump in that foxhole when we got to fire the right shots. But, hopefully you can, with absolute power, you can keep your head screwed on straight. And he's made the most of it with the show with Snoop Dogg, with the crossover with TNT. So good on him, man. I just hope that 19 pounds of muscle in 3 weeks doesn't end up in a Triple H quad tear. That'd be something tragic, dude. I don't want to see that.
On a different gas topic, gas went up about 50 cents a gallon, so your tour bus is going to
dude, that's the whole thing. They're all celebrating and rejoicing. Yeah, the fucking orange Cheetos out of office. But you bought a bus, and when gas goes from 211 to 311, you're going to see a big
911.
The 911. That's my tag team partner right there, always coming in with the Stevie kick high spot to go over strong at the end, baby. What are we doing today, Stevie, to influence people worldwide?
I'm going to really try to have thought about this tech channel, because like John Paz and other people and a lot of my friends ask me for advice with certain things, and it might be something I want to kick off this week. Outside of that, I'm probably going to have to crave. I have more fitness videos in the queue from Force USA when I was out at the headquarters in Utah, and I want to keep that going too. So we're heading towards 71,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel. It is because I had an envelope video we did with Dave Jonda. By the way, Awakening of Surgeon, available on Amazon.com. And the Tim Alberino book, which I will get, I promise, birthright. But dude, it gained over 1.2 million views in the past 28 days. So people want answers. People want that. And but the channel, it's just amazing that we're going to be banned in no time. I mean, you, me, everybody, we'll be on Rockfin and these other places by 2022. I have no doubt. But outside of that, forceusa.com/Stevie. Also, diamondbackfitness.com/Stevie, just to make it easier. You don't have to enter a coupon code for strength nor cardio equipment. Use those. Obviously, you save a little bit of money, and also it helps support our content, which we all reinvest right back into our brands.
All the time, man. I appreciate all those super stickers and those cheers. We know that digital currency is a weird thing. And to see you guys join us over here on YouTube, we're 44 strong right now for the Friday Locker Room at Hameen Media Group, hackerhameen.podbean.com. So thank you for staying fluid with us, you guys, because we know it's a crazy time in this censorship era where we're banned, and who knows where we'll be showing back up on Twitch and whatnot. But we'll be the pioneers in this open frontier. We got no problem with that, doing the hard work to build a homestead, rolling up our sleeves and doing that tough work alongside. Go ahead, please.
Oh, I didn't want to cut you off. We do have possibility. We're trying to schedule producers court with Chuck and Matt to see who really won. We're going to recount the votes. Some votes came in after 1 a.m. It's kind of weird how that happens.
Usually we have the Friday Hameen Media Group meeting with the producers, but it may turn into a live wrestlers court. So keep your eyes open and make sure you subscribe to Ben Hameen YouTube channel and Hameen Media Group YouTube channel. I'll simulcast on both, and you can see who the actual producer of the year is end up going to be. Is it Chuck or the one and only MSG? But it'll be an interesting day for the boys behind the scenes. Well, in front of the scenes here for all the Hameen Media Group Russo brand members. Great week this week at Russo's Brand Raw and SmackDown Review, Master Shoot Theater. A lot of fun as always. We appreciate you guys taking that time to be an extra subscriber on Patreon, on Hameen Media Group for Rip Rogers FR Podcast or Stevie Ray TV. Everything that we got going on, know that we're not trying to pick your pockets, and if you can only do one or you can't do any, and if you can just share them, be a participator in the Discord, the Facebook groups. We got the new season going on. I know the Conor McGregor fight this weekend is going to be a big one there for the UFC Pick'em Challenge, the Royal Rumble Pick'em Challenge, and the NFL playoffs. So, turn that mainstream shit off, hop on into the ghettos with social media, but we're all down here hanging and banging together, having a good time and not taking anything too seriously, because why let them get to you, infidels? It's the locker room. It's veterans only. So nobody's going to kayfabe us. Nobody's going to work us. We're the workers who work you, infidels. Here, hackerhameen.podbean.com, prowrestlingtees.com/Ben Hameen, Stevie Richards. Yalla.